We were told that you got to get the fat out of your diet because fat in your diet makes you fat. That didn't work. Okay, when we started educating the public about that, we found out fat doesn't make fat. We found out that number two, the second thing that happened in the early 80s, we started converting from sugar, started realizing that people were getting diabetes and overweight, and these were correlating. They said, we need to get you off of sugar. So they switched to high fructose corn syrup, which depending on what expert you listen to is about 10 to 15 times sweeter than sugar. Yep. Volume for volume, right? Yep. And the third thing is, interesting, right? What else happened in the 80s? It totally changed the way we move in life. The PC was invented. We became a much more sedentary lifestyle, right? So these are the things. So here's what it comes down to. Don't be afraid to eat fat, but eat fat in moderation. You should be eating butter. You should not be eating margarine. Okay, if you eat margarine still, if you're still going to the grocery store buying margarine, stop it. Butter is healthy. We know that that was a lie that we were told in the 80s, okay? Stop eating artificial sweeteners. And every artificial sweetener is a bad one. Everyone, period. Everyone. There are no exceptions. I'm just my personal, soapbox there. You need to eat more fiber and you drink more water. Now, if you're doing this, because you see what this does, what fiber does and water does, it adds volume to your stomach. It gives you a feeling of what's called satiety. It makes you feel full. So if you made one change, you just start drinking more water, guess what? You're going to lose weight. If you're not used to drinking water on a regular basis, just start carrying a water bottle around with you and fill it up periodically during the daytime. You'll find out. Yes, question?
God, this is amazing. It's funny, I was looking at this stuff online after I was reading about Jillian Michaels talked about, and she said the exact same thing on this video I was watching about. He told us about the fat. We just was fun. It's like a deja vu. But what you want to get is with the water, including the Navy SEALs and the guys in the aircraft carriers, give yourself a camelback.
Oh, yeah.
Carry it around your back and you walk, and you don't have to worry about carrying it in your hand.
Exactly, good point. So, obesity and diabetes, here's what it comes down to. They're both treatable, preventable, and guess what? They're curable. They're reversible. We do know that these things can be done. We're talking about type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a man-made disorder. And if you change your lifestyles, you can actually change that. Again, that's a talk and a topic all in and of itself. So secret number 3. It's not that diabetes, heart disease, or obesity runs in your family. It's that no one in your family runs. Amen. You're not getting enough exercise. You need to run. That's a secret. It's a hidden secret, okay? So what you need to do is you need to burn more calories than you eat, right? That's called exercise. If you exercise, this is a secret. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get to that, why this is a secret, because you've heard that before, right? Right. You're not, every gym, gym memberships sell about 90% of their memberships in the month of January and the first couple weeks of February for the whole year. About 90%. Okay, what do you think that is?
New Year's resolution.
But the truth of the matter is that that's not the answer either. Just exercising is not the answer. How many here have ever been in a bodybuilding program? Okay, if you've ever been in a bodybuilding program and you went from a 1-pack to a 6-pack, 6-pack became a 1-pack and then go back to 6-pack. If you've ever been in this kind of program, you'll know that anybody who's been in bodybuilding knows that 50% of bodybuilding is in the gym and truly 50% is at the table. Okay? And your body really cannot be confused by trying to do too many things all at once. Building muscle is called anabolic. Breaking fat down and burning fat calories is called catabolic. They're exact opposites. Your body can really concentrate most efficiently in doing one or the other. Building muscle or burning fat. But it's a myth to think that you can do both at the same time unless you're about 20 and you're an athlete. And you're on steroids. Steroids. Okay, that was my attempt at a joke. Steroids. Okay? So let's define what are calories. They're little tiny creatures that live in your closet and sew up your clothes a little bit tighter every night. But here's what calories really are. Calories are not the same. All calories are not the same. Let me make my point. If you went to McDonald's, when we talked about that a while ago, and you had a Big Mac, a large order of fries, and a shake, that's going to be about 1,500 calories. Okay, now how many calories do you think fruits and vegetables would look like?
100, 200.
Wow. That's about what 1,500 calories of fruits and vegetables would be like. Whole pile of bananas, some grapes, and pretty much most of what you see on there. Okay? So the point is that Good calories are what's important. Bad, empty calories are going to be making you very, very ill. So what I recommend that you do, this is part of the secret, is eat more whole foods. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if it comes in a package and it says made from whole foods, it's not whole foods. It's been taken apart, broken down. It's no longer whole food. Don't buy that story. If it comes in a box, comes in a package, it is no longer whole food. Whole foods come from a periphery in the grocery store. That's where you should spend your shopping time. That's the grocery area, grocery section. Okay. Stop eating fast food. If you eat, listen, there is nothing on the menu at McDonald's, period, that you can eat if you want to watch your weight in your diet. And I'm sad to tell you because it's the truth. Okay. Even their salads, if you have it without the dressing, it would probably be good for you. But if you have the dressing, guess what it's loaded with?
Fat.
Trans fat and sugar.
They still serve water there, I think.
Yeah, they serve water. Okay, there is something good there. You're right. Thank you. I've proven wrong. Packaged foods means processed, and processed foods are not whole foods, and so that's the thing. So exercise regularly, but here's the key. Find an exercise that you enjoy to do. So if I tell you that you got to join the gym, you got to go to the gym 3 days a week, you got to work out for an hour every single week, and if you miss a workout, you're going to get fat. Right? That's a story that might work for some people, but for most people that's not going to work. But if I said, you know, what do you like to do for fun that makes you move? Right? You're going to be more likely to find something that you like to do and stick with it, and in 6 months down the road you're still doing it, than if it's something I tell you to do as your doctor. Right? So that's the secret. Secret number 4. And I tell you, this is profound. We know that it's equally as important what you eat as to how and when you eat will affect how you put on weight and how fat you get as time goes by. So here's what it comes down to. Notice how that faded in. You should eat more slowly. I'll tell you why. Here's a secret. It's a secret because it takes 30 minutes for the message to get from your brain, from your stomach to your brain to say I'm full. So if you eat like this, if you eat like that, never stop to think and to talk and have conversation, these are all things that are going to make you start to eat more slowly. Your brain will hear the message that I'm full, and you can amazingly look down at your plate and see, well, gee, I only ate half my food. I'm at a restaurant. I guess I can take the other half home, right? So eat more slowly. That's a really big deal. Instead of putting sugar and salt on your meal, put things on it more, seasonings, and especially herbs, and especially fresh herbs. If you do that, that's going to make a big difference on how and when you eat. And know what foods are your trigger foods. Now, who by show of hands, when I say trigger foods, who knows what a trigger food is? Okay, I'm going to give you my definition because a lot of people raise their hands. And I was going to ask a couple people, instead of pointing my finger, I'll just tell you what my definition is. Any food that you start eating and you can't have just one, that triggers you to keep eating more and more and more. That's a trigger food. Okay? For me, it's ice cream. I can't have a bowl. I can have a box. You know what I mean? Some of you can relate. See, so I recommend that you stop and take a look at yourself. When you have something, you know that if it's chips, if it's bread, if it's cookies, if it's whatever it is, we all have different triggers. But if you're having, stay away from that. Now, here's the thing you've heard before. You need to learn how to control your portion size, right? Well, that's like talking about empty calories. It's like, it doesn't mean a whole lot. But let's put some substance to this thought. Let's say, how do you learn to control your portion size? Well, there's a couple things you can do. Number one, when do you make bad choices? When your blood sugar's real low, and you pick things on the menu that look like they're going to taste good, not because they're good to feed your body. So if you wait until you're hungry to eat, overly hungry especially, think about what you do on Thanksgiving. You don't eat all day until dinner's served around 3, 4, 5 o'clock, something like that for most folks, right? And you stuff yourself, and about a half an hour later, oh my God, my 6-pack suddenly became a 1-pack, okay? All right? So that's a key. And the other thing is I recommend that you think about eating more frequent small meals. If you're not eating 4 to 5 times or more a day, now a meal could be just a piece of fruit. I'm considering that a meal. Okay, I'm not talking about eating a huge meal. And your largest meal truly should be at the middle of the day. That's when you're going to be more active. And I definitely would not recommend eating after 8 p.m. at night. And if you go to bed at 8 p.m., then probably shouldn't eat after 7. Okay, and some folks do go to bed at 8 o'clock. Okay, if you get up at 4 or 5, probably go to bed close to 8 o'clock. Okay? And I'll tell you, if you're not eating breakfast, you really need to start eating breakfast. It's an established fact. And it doesn't matter what you eat for breakfast so much as breakfast. Eat a small amount. I do recommend something I didn't put on a slide, but I should have, and I just recall it. It's funny how you put these programs together and you think, oh yeah, I forgot to plot this little thing here. Protein should be in every meal that you have. If you don't have a little bit of fat, a little bit of protein, quite a bit of carbs, and when I say carbs are not bad, you know that, right? Bad carbs are bad, but carbs are fruit. That's a carb. That's not a bad carb. But bread, that's a carb. It's bread is a bad carb, right? So good carbs, okay? And again, topic of another talk. And lastly here, how much time do I have? I have 5 minutes? Okay, 5 minutes. I'll wrap it up in 5 minutes. Secret number 5 are your genes. It really does, it is genetic. But let me explain when I say that it's genetic, because here's what it comes down. We know that you were born with all the genes that you're ever going to have. Every single cell in your body, there are literally trillions and trillions of cells in your body. Every single cell in your body, whether it's a heart, a lung, a muscle, a gland, every single cell has exactly the same number of genes as every other cell. But we know that the expression of certain genes is what causes them to become different cells, right? That's called gene expression and cellular differentiation. So that's what makes a heart cell different from a liver and a muscle and so forth and so on. But every cell has exactly the same information. Here's what else we know about your genes. 80% of the genetic material that you have is not made up of genes, but it's actually made of what's called gene switches, telomeres. This is what turns the genes on and turns the genes off. So the question about genetics, this is a secret, the question about genetics is how do we turn the good genes on and the bad genes off, right? This is what it comes down to, and we know that switches cause the changes in the way a gene works. That's called gene expression, and you may know this is called epigenetics. Now I told you I have a degree, an undergraduate degree in biochemistry. My degree goes back to the 70s, okay? So we didn't even know, I had a whole course in genetics, one course, right, in genetics along the way. And that one course, they didn't even tell us, we didn't even know what epigenetics were. This is cutting edge science that we're talking about here. So these are the switches, this is what turns the switches on. This turns the bad switches on and the good switches off. Toxins in your diet. Stress. Now by the way, stress is good for you. Exercise is stress. So exercise is good, so stress is good. But chronic stress is not good. Chronic stress is really bad for you. Behavior. How you behave and how you act, you allow yourself to be emotionally upset and distraught, that will affect, that will turn the trigger, the switches on and switches off. The bad switches get turned on, the good switches get turned off. And diet. The things that are in your food, the things we've talked about today, I'm summarizing my talk here. Exercise. Exercise is important. And lastly is your thoughts. How many of you ever heard the term that you become what you think about? Mm-hmm. You believe that to be true?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, we'll talk about Dale Carnegie. He was around a little while ago, and he said that. And it was said before he said that. But here's what we know, is that the good genes get turned off and the bad genes get turned on by these items right here. If this is part of your lifestyle, these are in your lifestyle. And so you will stay the same person. In other words, your genes are still going to be there. They're not changing. But what's changing is that you're turning the good genes off and the bad genes on. This is when you develop things like cancer and diabetes and that sort of thing. So with that said, this is how you turn the good genes on and the bad genes off. Limit the amount of exposure to toxins. If you're getting out in the sun, you're not wearing sunscreen, guess what? You're getting exposed to toxins from the inside out. Okay? You need to chill out, cool your stress off, break a sweat, get into an exercise. 30 minutes a day would be a great way to work out, and find a way to do that. Find it, do it 3 to 4 times a week. If you could put something into your lifestyle that would make you exercise and move more than what you're doing right now. Think about this. If you're fat and overweight, you need to make a change. Okay? That's a secret. You need to make a change. Okay? Eat smart, stay away from things like trans fat, low saturated fats, added sugar, artificial sweeteners, grains not 100% whole, and eat organic. So, with that said, it's been my pleasure getting a chance to talk to you today about Dr. Currie. Have a great day.
Great, thank you very much, David. That was an awesome presentation.